UBS recently released its 2024 Billionaire Ambitions report, which tracks global billionaire wealth and ranks countries in the Asia-Pacific region by the number of billionaires. China tops the list with 427 billionaires, but this is a sharp decline from 520 in 2023, nearly 100 fewer in just 1 year. India ranks second with 185 billionaires, an increase of more than 30 from the previous year. Hong Kong comes in third with 74 billionaires, 6 more than last year. Taiwan ties with Singapore for fourth place, each with 47 billionaires. Singapore gained 6 billionaires compared to last year, while Taiwan's count remains unchanged. Japan ranks fifth with 39 billionaires, an increase of 1 from the previous year. The Chinese billionaires who disappear from the ranks likely include those whose wealth dwindled during China's severe economic downturn, causing them to drop off the list. Others, often serving as proxies or intermediaries, may have lost their fortunes due to political infighting and subsequent asset seizures by the CCP. However, a significant number of these billionaires have likely achieved what many Chinese business people consider the ultimate goal, making it ashore. This term refers to successfully fleeing China with their assets. The United States, as China's main international rival, remains a top destination for Chinese millionaires. Other popular choices include Canada and Singapore. In recent years, China's economic situation has rapidly worsened. Local governments have fallen into severe debt crises, sparking a wave of bizarre incidents. Among these are unlawful tactics by public security agencies targeting entrepreneurs and wealthy individuals, such as overseas arrest operations and enforced designated residences. These actions have left China's wealthy elite living in fear. A recent high-profile case involving the illegal kidnapping and death of a wealthy individual by public security agents has caused a significant uproar. According to reports from Economic Daily News and other Chinese media outlets, on November 8, 2023, 14 members of UU Interactive Technology, including General Manager Xing Yanjun, were detained by the Public Security Bureau in Ulumbuyir, Inner Mongolia. They were held at a detention center on charges of operating illegal gambling establishments. At the time, the Public Security Bureau heavily publicized the arrest, describing the case as a successful crackdown on a cross-border online gambling operation and calling it another major breakthrough in combating illegal activities. Drone footage released by the local media showed police vehicles navigating snowy roads with buses transporting the suspects from Beijing to Inner Mongolia. The suspects, wearing hoods, were paraded before cameras during their transfer. However, on December 15, 2023, the new barrage left banner Procuratorate ruled against approving the arrest due to insufficient evidence. Unwilling to back down, the Public Security Bureau released only 2 individuals while continuing to detain the remaining 12 under the guise of designated residential surveillance. This measure, stipulated under China's criminal procedure law, is intended to ensure the proper progress of legal proceedings, but is not meant for evidence collection or detention. On April 3, 2024, one of the arrested managers, Xing Yanjun, died under abnormal circumstances during this designated residential surveillance period. Authorities informed his family that he no longer wanted to live. However, Xing's older brother told media outlets that he had visited his brother just 2 days earlier on April 1st, and Xing had shown no signs of distress. The family believes there are numerous suspicious circumstances surrounding Xing's death and has demanded a thorough investigation. In response, the Inner Mongolia Procuratorate and the Tongliao City Procuratorate formed a special task force to look into the case. According to a report by Chinese financial media outlet Yichai, the lawyer representing the case confirmed that the new barrage left banner, Public Security Bureau, recently dropped the charges related to the Texas Hold'em Alliance gambling app. The investigation concluded that Xing Yanjun committed no criminal acts. Additionally, the previously frozen assets tied to the case have been unfrozen. The lawyer stated that legal action would be pursued against those responsible for Xing's death in accordance with the family's wishes. This is not an isolated incident. In recent years, there have been multiple cases of suspects dying during designated residential surveillance. For example, in Guizhou, construction company executive Peng Honghua Yi died under suspicious circumstances just 20 days into his detention on allegations of money laundering. Xing Yanjun's sudden death under similar conditions has once again sparked widespread public outrage. The practice of long-distance hunting by Chinese police pursuing suspects far outside their jurisdictions has also drawn significant public criticism. Many have questioned why the Hulun Buir police, located 1,500 kilometers away, claimed jurisdiction over Xing, whose business and household registration were both in Beijing. Additionally, why were Xing's company and personal bank accounts frozen despite no clear connection to Inner Mongolia? The family suspects that Xing was merely one of many victims of this controversial practice, with many similar cases likely going unreported. They argue that China's economic downturn and the worsening financial situation of local governments have driven public security agencies to use cross-regional enforcement and target businesses as a means of meeting revenue targets. Chinese people express outrage over Xing Yanjun's death. Many criticize the authorities for only declaring his innocence after his death, highlighting the troubling conditions of the system. The increasingly oppressive political environment is one of the primary reasons billionaires are fleeing China. While many have long achieved financial freedom, they've never truly enjoyed personal freedom. Now they can finally breathe an air of liberty, even if it's just the freedom to lose money playing poker. In addition, recent reports suggest the Chinese government plans to impose taxes on the overseas investment returns of ultra-wealthy Chinese individuals. This new harvest strategy is yet another factor accelerating the exodus of billionaires. According to insiders, in recent months, tax authorities in multiple major Chinese cities have summoned wealthy individuals to evaluate taxes potentially owed over several years, with rates as high as 20%. The targets include Chinese nationals with offshore assets exceeding $10 million, as well as shareholders of companies listed in Hong Kong and the United States. Professor Xie Tian of the School of Business at the University of South Carolina, Aiken, explained, China's economic decline, fiscal deficits, and insufficient tax revenue have forced the government to explore every possible taxation method and target. Whenever they see a gap or opportunity, they act on it. This reflects a desperate scramble for money amidst the country's economic struggles. He further elaborated, these overseas assets are difficult to track, and countries like the US and China have agreements to prevent double taxation. It's essentially a cat-and-mouse game. While Beijing may attempt to extend its jurisdiction to extract these overseas fortunes, it will likely face significant challenges. In the end, this will only accelerate the flight of China's wealthy elite. The flight of high-net-worth individuals will undoubtedly exacerbate the already fragile state of the Chinese economy. For China's middle class, immigration often means giving up jobs, properties, social connections, and family ties, a decision requiring immense determination and significant financial costs. However, with the Chinese economy teetering on the edge of collapse and local government debt crises mounting, many feel their future in China is bleak and choose to seek new opportunities abroad. This growing sentiment of financial insecurity was further fueled by a recent policy change that deepened their resolve to leave. On December 12th, the Chinese government announced the full implementation of the personal pension system starting December 15th. This program, which has been piloted in 36 cities and regions since late 2022, is positioned as a third pillar of China's pension framework, emphasizing its flexibility and market-oriented approach. The first pillar, basic pension insurance, is a mandatory system led by the government and covers all urban workers and rural residents. The second pillar comprises voluntary occupational pensions, including corporate and public institution annuities, primarily serving financial robust businesses and public sector organizations. According to official information, individuals can contribute up to 12,000 yuan annually to a designated personal pension account. These funds can be invested in approved financial products and withdrawn as supplemental retirement income upon reaching retirement age. The system offers a deferral taxation benefit, with taxes applied only when the funds are withdrawn. The investments include financial products such as saving deposits, wealth management products, commercial pension insurance, and public funds. Specific pension savings and index funds have also been added to the investment catalog. As of December 12th, People's Daily reports that personal pension products include 26 wealth management products, 466 savings products, 165 insurance products, 200 public funds, and 85 equity-based index funds. This brings the total number of investment options to over 900 products. Sinolink Securities estimates that if the average annual contribution per person to the personal pension system reaches 6,000 yuan, the total annual contributions could amount to 156 billion yuan. However, the new system has not garnered widespread trust, with many people questioning its true intent. Some describe it as a Ponzi scheme, while others express doubts about affordability, saying, I could barely pay for the basic pension, let alone a personal one. A resident from Guangdong told Voice of America that he would absolutely not purchase personal pensions because China's existing healthcare and social insurance systems are already insolvent. He explained that many local governments are bankrupt, unable to auction off land, and the personal pension system is merely another way to extract money from citizens. He added that he doesn't buy into the state's social or health insurance schemes. Instead, he invests in private commercial insurance. China's 2024 Central Economic Work Conference outlined 9 key economic tasks for the upcoming year in a 4,000-word report. Among these, ensuring political stability was declared the overriding priority. Xi Jinping openly acknowledged the country's deflationary issue, calling for steady growth, stable employment, and a reasonable recovery in prices. The announcement also marked a formal shift in fiscal policy from conservative to expansionist. This indicates that China's current system has exhausted all feasible economic measures, with policies largely failing to yield results. Online commentators criticized Xi Jinping for ignoring income inequality and focusing solely on boosting consumption, accusing the government of squeezing citizens financially while going into deficits. He suggests Xi follow Argentina's Milei by reducing bureaucracy and cutting taxes as a real solution. Commentators further pointed out that Xi openly emphasized letting competent and proactive officials achieve results, while relying on lower-level governments to drive economic development. This reflects Xi's acknowledgement of local officials' widespread lying flat approach, where officials avoid proactive efforts due to systemic issues. Analysts argue that true economic motivation comes from businesses, not officials, and emphasize that without systemic reforms to support enterprises, superficial measures will fail to restore economic vitality. China's wealthy elite enjoy a significant information advantage over the general public, giving them a clear understanding of the country's political and economic trajectory. For these individuals, the decisions to leave China is less about the cost of emigration and more about rebuilding networks and continuing business operations abroad. They are acutely aware of the risks posed by China's monetary policies, which could devalue their assets, particularly in the wake of U.S. tariffs introduced by Trump's presidency. For the middle class, the newly introduced personal pension system has further eroded confidence in their future in China. Feeling increasingly certain that they will be left with nothing, many have decided that emigration is their only option. Recently, many countries have tightened visa requirements for Chinese citizens, while the Chinese government has ceased issuing passports in economically disadvantaged regions. These measures primarily target individuals seeking overseas employment. As Chinese elites increasingly move their wealth abroad, international financial institutions are vying to attract their capital. Bloomberg reports that Hong Kong's assets and wealth management industry is ramping up hiring to capture this inflow. UBS, for example, is actively expanding its workforce, aiming to double the assets managed for wealthy clients from Greater China within the next 3 to 5 years. Other banks are making similar moves. Singaporean banks have increased their Hong Kong workforce by about 30%. Julius Baer expanded its Hong Kong office space by 40% to accommodate additional staff. Standard Chartered plans to double its wealth management investments over the coming years. Citigroup has announced plans to expand its wealth management teams, particularly to seize opportunities in the Greater Bay Area. The Hong Kong Private Wealth Management Association forecasts significant growth among firms catering to mid to lower tier affluent individuals over the next 5 years. In 2023, net private wealth inflows into Hong Kong nearly tripled to $44 billion, with total assets under management rebounding to approximately $1 trillion after 2 years of decline. Hong Kong's new capital investment entrance scheme, which grants residency to individuals investing over 30 million Hong Kong dollars, has received over 500 applications since its launch in March. The Invest HK department anticipates these applications will generate over 15 billion Hong Kong dollars in investments. Hong Kong remains a pivotal gateway for Chinese elite transferring assets overseas. These recent measures have further emboldened both the wealthy and the middle class to consider leaving China. Rumors of China's economic decline or even imminent collapse have been circulating for years. On multiple occasions, the economy appeared to be on the brink of failure, only to make an astonishing recovery. This pattern has left many desensitized or even questioning whether China's system might indeed be more advanced. Over the past year, the exodus of billionaires and determined middle-class families has drained China of significant intellectual and financial resources, just as the country faces an economic winter. Once the illusion of China's economic prosperity collapses, the perceived superiority and legitimacy of its political system may disintegrate almost overnight.